Manchester City midfielder Rodri has been fined £80,000 for comments made about the referee after last month's Premier League draw at Tottenham. The Spain international accused referee Robert Jones neutral, of not being neutral in the City's 2-2 draw on the 1st of February. The Football Association said Rodri admitted the charge. They acted in an improper manner during a post-match media interview by making comments that imply bias and or question the integrity of a match official and or match officials. Rodri was angry that Dominic Solanke's goal was allowed to stand after he appeared to kick through the leg of City defender Mark Gay. The FA's Regulatory Commission was unanimous in its view that the threshold had not been met for a plain sanction to be imposed on Rodri, who sent 2 letters as part of his evidence. Red cards were issued to 23 players after a match brawl broke out between Brazilian club Cruzeiro and Atletico Mineiro in the Campeonato Mineiro final. Caio Hogue scored a winner in Belo Horizonte as Cruzeiro, managed by former Brazil boss Tite, edged rivals Atletico 1-0 to become the champion of the state of Minas Gerais for the first time since 2019. But the match was marred by violent melee in the dying seconds, with first security staff and military police to intervene and resulted in 23 players, including Atletico's former Brazil forward Hawk, being sent off retrospectively. The match confrontation began when Atletico goalkeeper Everson pushed Christian to the ground and planted his knee on the chest of the Cruzeiro midfielder who had collided with him while chasing a loose ball. Christian's teammate immediately confronted Everson, shoving the keeper onto the goalpost, triggering wider issues as more players joined in while security staff tried to separate the team. Though no red cards were issued by referee Matheus Delgado Candanca during the game, Brazilian media outlet Globo reported 23 players were sent off later because the fight stopped the cards on the field. Cruzeiro had 12 players, including goalkeeper Oge, sent off. Former Atletico Madrid and Nottingham Forest fullback Renan Lodi and Aqua among the 11 Atletico players dismissed. The record for the most red card in a senior game came during a match between Atletico Claypole and Victoriano Arenas in the 5th division of Argentine football in February 11. All 36 players who were involved in the match were sent off for what the referee described in his post-match report as a generalized brawl. Arco said after Sunday's final, "It's regrettable. Both Atletico and Cruzeiro are winless after 4 Serie A matches this season and sit 17th and 19th respectively in the Brazilian top flight." The Intercontinental Playoff for the 2026 FIFA World Cup scheduled for March 23rd to 31 in Guadalajara and Monterrey, Mexico face potential disruption due to the ongoing conflict in Iran and the closure of multiple Middle Eastern airspaces. Iraq is set to play the winner of Suriname versus Bolivia in the final of its playoff bracket on the 31st of March in Monterrey is encountering significant logistical hurdles. The closure of Iraqi airspace, widespread flight cancellation in the region, and the shutdown of several embassies that complicate the visa processing and preventing many squad members, primarily domestically based players, from traveling to Mexico. Iraqi national team coach Graham Arnott, together with the Iraqi Football Federation, has formally requested FIFA to postpone the fixture, citing the impossibility of preparing and fielding a team under fair conditions. Their proposal suggests allowing the Suriname-Bolivia match to proceed as planned, while postponing Iraq's final to a date closer to the start of the World Cup. FIFA has yet to issue a public decision, but is reportedly monitoring the situation closely in coordination with the Iraqi Federation and the Asian Football Confederation. 5 members of the Iranian women's football team have taken refuge in a safe house in Australia following their elimination in the Asian Cup. The women have been due to fly home, but supporters had raised fears for their safety after the team declined to sing the national anthem ahead of their first match against South Korea last week. This prompted criticism from within Iran, with one conservative commentator accusing the team of being wartime traitors and pushing for harsh punishment. Hundreds of supporters surrounded the Iranian Lionesses coach as he left the stadium on the Gold Coast on Sunday evening with chants of "Save Our Girls." On Monday, it was reporters witnessed dramatic scenes inside the Team 5-star hotel when several players left the lobby in a group after speaking to activists. Shortly after they departed, a second group, including a translator and the head coach, burst in looking panicked and right through the hotel before returning to their rooms. Officials have not commented publicly. However, a family member of one of the women, speaking on condition of anonymity, told Australian news sites that they were being protected by police and intended to claim asylum. President of the United States, Donald Trump, took to his Truth Social platform to demand action. Australia should give asylum to the women, Trump said in his initial post. Liverpool goalkeeper Alisson Becker remains tomorrow's Champions League last 16 fourth-leg tie at Galatasaray after feeling some minor discomfort during training on Monday. The Brazilian international was not named in the right travelling party that flew from Merseyside to Istanbul this afternoon, with the Rhinos not wanting to risk the 33-year-old at the Talk Telecom Arena. And a slot in his pre-match press conference said that Ali of course was in this session, as many people could see, but unfortunately felt something towards the end of this session. People looked at it and we decided that it wasn't good enough to travel to play tomorrow and there's no use of traveling. However, midfielder Alexis McAllister did train ahead of the flight to Turkish capital after being forced off having received lengthy treatment to his knee in the second half of Friday's 31 Africa win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. But forward Federico Chiesa, and a new substitute at the Molineux, was not part of the group who threw their pieces on Monday morning and is also not part of the red squad. In basketball, Nigeria's D Tigers today arrived Veleban Lyon for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying tournament. The tournament is scheduled to run from the 11th of March on Wednesday to the 17th of March. Head coach Rena Wakana is our assistant, and the 12 selected players are all gearing up for the competition. The players have already started preparation for the tournament following their arrival in Lyon. The Afghan champions will face France, Germany, Colombia, South Korea, and the Philippines during the competition. Promise Amokamara, Ezine Kadu, Ami Okonko, and Sarah Ogoke are expected to play key roles for the Tigers in Lyon. And finally, tonight, Francis Ngannou will return to mixed martial arts after a 19-month absence when he faces Brazil's Felipe Lins on the 16th of May. A 5-round heavyweight bout to be part of the most valuable promotion's MVP inaugural MMA fight card, headlined by Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano in Los Angeles. Former UFC champion Ghana has not fought in the MMA since October 2024 when the Cameroonian stopped Brennan Ferreira in the fourth round to win the PFL Super Fight Heavyweight Championship. Ghana's exit from the UFC in January 2023 was a massive moment in MMA as one of the sport's biggest stars opted to walk away from the world's biggest promotion. The 39-year-old joined the Professional Fighters League PFL in May 2023 but fought just once for the MMA promotion. His status rocketed when he came close to beating Tyson Fury in the boxing contest in October 2023, and he went on to face Anthony Joshua in 2024, which ended in a knockout. He parted ways with the PFL this week, and it was announced on Monday that joined Jake Paul's MVP. And that's all we have in the news. Talking point next. Right, welcome back to Urban Sport Tonight 4.5 Urban Radio. It's 7:44 right now. We can also continue our conversation from the morning show and the result from the weekend. We have Champions League matches setting and cooking for tomorrow. And yes, it's clear now Alisson Becker, the first choice keeper for Liverpool, will not be available to face Galatasaray in Turkey, in Istanbul tomorrow. So that's one big advantage for Galatasaray ahead of that game, and of course the tonic of that game. And Victor Osimhen, who is a red hot form, who fancy scoring against Amazdash-Vili, is going to be in between the sticks for Liverpool in tomorrow's game. Right for tonight, Espanyol will take on Real Oviedo. The game is set for 9 p.m. tonight. Lazio against Sassuolo is by 8:45 tonight. We have an FA Cup clash between West Ham United and Brentford, looking at who gets to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup between the two teams. In the Super League in Turkey, Uspor has been beaten by Kalispor 1-0 in Alliance Sport, and Genk Club Birliği are currently playing a goalless draw, and it's 2 minutes to the end of regulation time. Trabzonspor, they've torn apart Kayserispor 3-0 in 79th minute of football, and red card for Kayserispor in that game. Trying to confirm if Paul Onachu got on the score sheet today. Yes, he scored the fourth goal of the game in the 47th minute of the first half. They converted the penalty in the 52nd minute of that first half. Also, 2 goals for Paul Onachu before Bilal Bayazet scored an own goal to benefit Trabzonspor. That's in the 53rd minute. For Paul Onachu continues to lead the scoring chart in Turkey, but then won't get the high-profile celebration Victor Osimhen gets, despite scoring more goals. You have to understand the star quality of Victor Osimhen, the starman delivery of Victor Osimhen, and just recently that goal that he scored for Galatasaray against Besiktas in the derby. Yes, a super one for Victor Osimhen. Right, 0916005945. Before we start picking your calls, yesterday on Saturday, beg your pardon, the Australian Grand Prix started the Formula One season. The first was the Australian Grand Prix, and George Russell's Kimi Antonelli won for Mercedes, first and second. The very first time Mercedes are going to have first and second on pole position, in fact on podium, since days of Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, those days when Hamilton was in Paris before he moved to Ferrari. So George Russell's won that race in the Australian Grand Prix, and Kimi Antonelli came second, Charles Leclerc of Ferrari came third, and Lewis Hamilton, who wants to win the Formula One this season, came fourth. Not too bad to start, but then Ferrari didn't manage their strategy properly, while Russell's and Kimi Antonelli with Mercedes, drove a crazy engine to win that. And there's been a lot of conversations, a lot of condemnation also coming from top Formula One drivers like Verstappen, for example, like Lando Norris, for example. But the likes of Lewis Hamilton have appreciated the new engine, the batteries, in fact, the new changes that's come to Formula One so far. And we saw I panned out on the track when Australian Kim Collin and the the likes of George Rossus and Kim Antonelli with Charlotte Clay and of course Lewis Hamilton came first to fourth. But then top position went to George Rossus. The Constructors' Challenge is going to be very tough this season. With the way the race started on Saturday, it's going to be a very long Formula One season. But let's hear from George Rossus, who won that race ahead of every other person. How celebrated that victory and his comments after winning the Australian Grand Prix, the first Formula One race for the year.
Happy it was kind of the race that we were expecting, like chaotic start, difficult to manage the battery, yo-yoing a bit with the overtakes. So I don't know how it looked on TV, but it was
great on TV.
It looked good on TV, right? Good. And I think the closing speeds are so big with these new cars, but it was mega. My mirrors at Hajar, and then I had them covered, and then he just came out of nowhere. So fair play to him. And I thought I had him at one point, passed him, he passed me, but yeah, good race. I didn't use my boost button here, and he got me. That was a mistake on my side. So the same, to be honest. I don't think we expected that, and I think it's like we said yesterday. I don't think we overachieved. I think a lot of teams underperformed in qualifying. Didn't probably adapt to the conditions well enough, and we just sort of nailed it. Today was more aligned to what we thought. Like we maybe had a 10.3 pace advantage, but not the
0916005945, 0916004945. Those are the numbers to call to be part of the conversation, and you can also text us on 09128945. You can also talk about the Rangers International Football Club of Enugu. They are banking, they are playing, they are winning. They've gone 6 games without losing so far in the MPFL, and they are second to Rivers United. Good evening to you. Yes, your name and location. Alright, go ahead. Manchester United are not playing this week. They are playing, it should be on Sunday. They are not involved in the Champions League, no FA Cup match for them. So their next game is 5 ways. It's going to be on Sunday against Aston Villa by 3 p.m. Yes. So you guys are on break. The players can rest. Yeah. Let's not talk about Manchester United this week. They are not playing until Sunday. No Champions League football or FA Cup match for them. 0916005945, 0916004945. Yes, you can talk to us on that line as we wait for the big Champions League matches for tomorrow. From tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, monster clashes on the Champions League. Teams are getting ready. Teams are reserving their players. And of course, those that are supposed to be on trip, I'm sure that they've arrived at destination for tomorrow's match. Victor Osimhen and his team, they need to be more careful this time around. They can't go around bottling a 3-goal advantage like they did against Juventus. They cannot go around doing that, and they need to come and play. They need to bring everything to the table. The game is against Liverpool tomorrow. Hello? 0916005945, 0916004945. Those are the numbers to call to part of the conversation, to talk to us. You can make it easy. Yes, 0916005945, 0916004945. That's it if you want to talk to us. And for Manchester City, Rodri, and that's expected. When you speak against the referee, you get a fine. Even if you're right, even if you're wrong, you get a fine. But they didn't think that what he said was too much for a ban, because the ban is usually around the corner where they fine. They come hand in hand. When you get fined, you get banned alongside it. Good evening to you. Yes, your name and location. Okay, go ahead. For Rangers game, I said you should text on WhatsApp. I didn't say there should be a call. Text on WhatsApp. I called the number. I called you several. Okay. Apologies. They are playing on Wednesday. Yes, Manchester City, Real Madrid. It's a monster clash. It's a monster clash. All right. Oh boy. All right. 0916005945 0916004945. For that of Rodriguez, £80,000 fine, and that's quite sad because what he said was correct against the game between Tottenham and Manchester City. But then, how do they get to control what the referees do on the pitch and the decisions? Leaving to you.
Thank you.
Yes, Chooks out.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. That's unnecessary comments. You don't say that because if every other player begins to make a remark about referee's performance and the one that's also favored Man City, I'm not sure we will have the league anymore. So you should pay that money. This one is chicken change. In as much as it's so much money.
Chicken change. Is it your money? Is it your money?
No. I'm trying to, remind you that it's chicken change for him, but for you it's big money.
Is it your money? Me, I'm just trying to tell you that it is not. It is not your money.
For the Tigers, they've qualified automatically for the World Cup, right? Because I know that
there is qualifiers. Yes,
they are playing qualifiers. I don't know how to do these things, but they've qualified for being champions.
They will qualify for the qualifiers.
No, that's my worry. I don't know how they do.
But they are going to play qualifiers.
Yeah, they will play qualifiers.
Yes.
But when the tournament was going on in Africa, they said the champions qualifies automatically, while the second and third goes in for the playoffs. So these things are mixed up. I don't really know what FIBA is going on about and all these things. But they will do, and because this one now, top 3 in each group moves in to the tournament. But I expect themselves, Germany and France, to be the top 3. I think that might actually be a boogie, whatever is South Korea anyways.
Yes.
But other Philippines and Colombia shouldn't be a big fault for them.
Thank you very much, Jukes. 0916005945 0916004945. Those are the numbers to call. For the Tigers, this is the list of players that we are expecting to be part of the qualifiers. Promise Amukamara, Elizabeth Balogun, Blessing for Nicole Enebosi, Rita Ibukwe, Izine Kalu with all our experience, Palas Kunayi, Victoria Macaulay, Manatu Musa, Sarah Goke, Anu Ponko, and Ifunaya Okoro. Good evening to you. Yes. In your name and location. All right, my friend, go ahead. He's not the only one that will decide. If he scores twice in a game and his team concedes 3, they're out. There are speculations that Barcelona are interested in him because they need to replace Lewandowski. Okay. It's a big plus. Yes. It is. All right. Thank you. I appreciate your kindness. 0916005945 0916004945. Those are the numbers to call to be part of the conversation. 23 players sent off after match brawl in Brazil. I'm sure all of them will be suspended. And maybe the 2 teams are going to be cancelled. I don't know what's going on in Brazil. But then when you talk about fan violence, player violence in leagues across the world, and when you talk about the pitch invasions that we suffer here in Nigeria. with the MPFL, which has become a norm, especially this season. As if we do our discipline to the wind, if we consider that the fan violence and the sanctions, and we say, okay, Nigeria needs to step up, need to improve. We need to understand what the game is about and not put the name of the game into drish to extend their enemies. Brazil, 23 red cards, mad brawl for players, not fans, so players. That's insane. Good evening to you. Okay, okay. Say satanic. It's okay. That's true. That is not it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comment tonight. And yes, tomorrow we have more time to talk about the B games in the Champions League tomorrow. If your team is not involved, just stay, enjoy the show on your radio. You can comment, you can criticize, but it's all love right here from Urban Sport 294.5 Urban with Damsel and Papa coming in for the night show from 8 p.m. My name is Banky O.